Hi everyone, it's James here from Production Expert, back with another gear review. This time we have this baby. This is the new Neve 1073 DPX, a 2-channel, 2U rack mount mic preamp and EQ. And it's a thing of absolute beauty. There's a track, there's always a track, but first, let's get up close and personal. So the Neve 1073 is a dual channel 2U rack mount mic pre and EQ. We have two horizontally mounted mic pre channels. Both do exactly the same thing. Starting on the far left, we have a front and digital button. The front button converts our connections from the front panel to the back panel. So all inputs can either be from the front or from the back. We then have the Digi button, which allows us to route to or from the optional digital I/O board, which on this particular model is installed. Next up, we have the Xlr Combi Jack. This is our Xlr mic input, jack line input, and we also have the counterpart on the back, hence the front button. Moving over a little more, we have 4 buttons, one for phantom power, one for low impedance on the microphone input, because some mics prefer low impedance, ribbons in particular. Lift allows us to lift the earth on the DI input, and we have a minus 20 dB attenuator. Next we have the DI input. There is no rear DI input. This is the 1/4 inch jack for instruments. And then we get into the important stuff, the preamp and EQ section. Now I've realigned the camera and donned a pair of headphones for this bit because my voiceover mic is actually running through the top channel. So we have our gain pot. Now in this case I'm not going to move it, but the cool thing about the Neve style gain functions is you have several off positions, kind of null points. So it means you don't have to wind all the way back or all the way out to actually get rid of any gain. So we have the line side of things, off, mic side of things, and the super high gain side of things. Next we have the EQ, which I need to engage by pressing this button. And we start off with the high frequency EQ. So you can hear it's getting nice and it's getting bright, but it's not getting harsh. There's a little bit of sibilance there, but I am pushing plus 16 dB of high frequency at a 12K shelf. So yeah, it's going to be pretty bright. But you can hear as I roll it off, it's not a harsh sounding EQ. It's not a muddy sounding EQ. I like a little bit of push, but not too much. Next, we have the mid frequencies. Now, this is the bit with Neve EQ that can be a little bit weird. At the moment, it's set to off. I'm going to wind in some EQ and then go through the frequencies so you can hear off. Here I am, here I am, here I am, ba 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 bum. And as I wind through, you can hear those EQ curves coming through all the way up to 7.2K. down to 360 hertz. So I'm going to find one about there, pull that back a little bit, no, push on a little bit. I quite like that. This is what we refer to as a fixed Q EQ. We've got plus and minus 18 dB at 360 hertz, 700 hertz, 1.6K, 3.2, 4.8 and 7.2K. Next, we have the low frequency EQ. Similar sort of thing, we've got cut and boost. Then we have the frequency selections, 35 hertz, 60 hertz, 110 and 220 hertz. So you can hear there's some body going in there, maybe a bit too much, a little bit too much. I quite like that. And then we have our low frequency roll off. So 50 hertz, 80 hertz, 160 and 300. For a voiceover, I'm going to go with around about 160. We've already investigated the EQ on-off button, the bypass button. We have a phase invert. We have an insert button. Yes, there's a built-in insert for each of the 2 channels. And we can choose whether to put that insert pre or post the EQ. Now, one of the nice new features of the 1073 DPX is this section. This is the takeoff section. We can actually monitor, using this headphone jack, each stage of the signal path. So we can monitor the input, we can monitor post EQ, and we can monitor at the output stage. Really, really nice. And if we want to, we can, using the volume pot, the push pot, channel 1 and 2, or just channel 2. really, really nice. And this headphone amp sounds fantastic. It's incredibly loud if you want it to be. Lastly, of course, we have the power button. Then, of course, around the back, we have the input for our power supply, input for the mic or line input, both over XLR, jack, routing, send and return for our insert, and our main XLR output. Now, I'm not sure if this is a stock feature or something that's just come to me as the reviewer, but I think Neve are quite pleased with themselves with the build quality and just the level of fit and finish on this thing to put a clear Perspex lid on it. It's absolutely stunning. You can see pretty much everything going on. A work of absolute genius in my view. It's great to see those two huge Neve Marinair transformers in there, which give so much of that 1073 sound. They sound absolutely incredible. But of course, they're not the only transformers hiding in there. We have two enormous output transformers. How can it not sound fantastic with that much metalwork going on? So there's no two ways about it. This thing just sounds stunning. The Neve 1073 is probably one of, if not the most famous preamp on planet Earth. So if there's a place set aside in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for a preamp, I think the 1073 is going to get it. The preamp just sounds incredible. The EQ is natural. The Neve EQ layout, initially I didn't find the most friendly to get round, but I think that's because I've been using so many conventional style fully parametric or quasi parametric EQs for so long. But once you get your head round it, it sounds amazing, and it's really easy to dial in some great tones. So to the track, there's always a track. It's the law. It's a simple one this time. Acoustic guitar, bass using the DI, vocal, some shaker, and some harmony vocals. Very, very simple, very sweet. A little bit of plate reverb just to bind it all together. No EQ other than what we've dialed in from the preamp itself. It's just awesome. Commit, 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 and commit some more. That's probably my new mantra for 2018. So if you get a chance to try one of these out, you really should do. It's a classic with a modern twist. I think that's probably the best way of describing it. So I'll leave you with a track. My name's James Ivey, and I'll see you again very soon for some more gear talk.
I saw you smile from somewhere deep behind your eyes. I like that look you give me, and it's telling me you're mine. You walk over to me and you kiss me one last time. You go in, but it's not forever. You wave your hands goodbye.